Our next speaker comes in from Vail Resorts. And Vail Resorts says their product is the outdoors, but their mission is to deliver an experience of a lifetime. And by all accounts, they do that across Vail, Park City, Heavenly, Beaver Creek, and as I just learned, a new resort in Australia. These are all places that evoke pure delight for anyone who loves mountains, loves skiing. This year, Vail Resorts was named one of the world's 50 most innovative companies by Fast Company, honored for exemplifying the best in nimble business and impactful innovation, and not in small part due to our next speaker, Kirsten Lynch. Kirsten Lynch is the Executive Vice President and CMO at Vail Resorts. She started her career at Ford Motor Company, followed by 12 years at Kraft, and directly prior to this, to Vail Resorts, Kirsten was at PepsiCo as CMO of the Quaker Foods and Snack Division. In her present role, Kirsten leads marketing, sales, PR, and the retail division, all out of Boulder, Colorado. Thanks so much for coming east, Kirsten. Welcome.
Thank you. Our mission is to create an experience of a lifetime. We don't create and sell any products. We create an experience. And actually, this experience is driven by emotion and passion for our guests and for our employees. For our guests, they're on vacation. They're enjoying the great outdoors. They're trying new experiences. And for our employees, it's actually equally passionate and emotional. I could send all of you to our company and our resorts and say, stop any employee, any random employee, and ask them, what is the mission of this company? And I guarantee you, every single one of them will say, experience of a lifetime. And it's not because they've memorized it, it's because it has meaning to them. The company is filled with employees who've merged who they are with what they do. And that's incredibly powerful, and it drives our employees to go above and beyond to create that experience that you just saw. Today I'm going to talk about how a company, our company that connects based on experience and passion and emotion, can also be driven by sophistication and data. So let's talk a little bit about our company. We're a vertically integrated business. We touch almost every aspect of the guest experience. We have our world-class ski resort destinations. We also have local ski areas, but we touch transportation, lodging, real estate, rental, even luxury clubs. Surrounding the guest and touching almost every aspect enables us to deliver that experience of a lifetime. At the core of our business are our destination resorts, 8 of them, 4 in Colorado, Vail, Beaver Creek, Breckenridge, and Keystone, Park City in Utah, and then 3 in Lake Tahoe, Heavenly, North Star, and Kirkwood. We call these our destination resorts because this is the core of our business, and the majority of the business is actually not from our local skiers in Colorado or Utah or California, but it's from our destination markets, Chicago, New York, LA, Mexico, Brazil, Australia. And a part of our acquisition strategy is also to buy what I'll call local ski areas to connect our destination resorts to markets with large populations of skiers for the local skiing connected then to our resorts out west. And that includes Chicago, Minneapolis, Detroit, and yes, even Australia. It might surprise you to know that there are more skiers that travel out west to ski in Chicago than in the entire state of Colorado. Our business model is based on investing in the guest experience. It starts with investing in a luxury premium experience to attract a high-end traveler, generate high volume to generate cash flow, and reinvest back into that experience. Sometimes I call this the circle of life because it is a continual, perpetual cycle every single year of consistently reinvesting back into that experience. In the past 5 years, we've put $500 million back into our resorts, into things like, yes, gondolas, white tablecloth fine dine restaurants on the top of Vail Mountain, personnel walking through the village in Beaver Creek to carry your skis and your equipment for you, or even technology. This differentiates us. Also, what differentiates us is our leadership model. We believe that the unlock for superior financial performance and innovation is leadership. And we believe that the differentiator for great leaders is emotional intelligence and emotional agility. And we focus on 5 key areas. First, we focus on self-awareness. That is, you can't lead others unless you know yourself. Knowing who you are at your core, what you stand for, what you're good at, what you're not good at as a leader, enables you to navigate through challenges and risks and failures and mistakes. Second area that we focus on is vulnerability. And this is about being brave. It's not about being perfect. People don't want perfect leaders. The third area that we focus on is candor. And this is about saying what you think, but really underlying it, it's actually about orienting yourself to helping that person, not your own desire to be liked. Fourth area of focus for us is emotional agility. And this is really about range and flexing as a leader and not being stuck in one leadership style that's comfortable, but being able to flex depending on the situation. Sometimes you might need to be supportive and nurturing, and sometimes tough and challenging and holding others accountable. And the great leaders can actually do both. And the last area that we focus on is sitting with tension. And I think this is one of the hardest things for leaders, It's the idea that you can navigate through opposing concepts or seemingly opposing concepts and help your team navigate through those as well. Opposing concepts like I just shared, that you can be supportive and nurturing, but also tough and holding others accountable. Or what could be perceived as an opposing concept is we need to preserve the core of our company and our industry and change and adapt. All of these leadership ideas permeate everything we do. Yes, we have a formal leadership development program that's intensive, focused on these 5 areas across every level of the organization. And yes, we get all our leaders together every year for a leadership summit for 2.5 days, and we don't spend any time talking about the business. We spend all of our time talking about these things, these skills. And on the executive team, we meet every 2 weeks, and the first 2 hours of that meeting is open space for candor, feedback, and holding each other accountable. It permeates everything we do. Our vision for the company is to reimagine the mountain experience around the world. And the key word here is reimagine, because it requires leadership and courage and taking risks and challenging the status quo. Some examples: Epic Mix. We created an app for our guests, and we put RFID chips in all of our season passes and all of our lift tickets so that you can track your whole entire experience on the mountain throughout the day. And your photos, the runs you did, where you skied, how many vertical feet you skied, and our guests can share that on Facebook and Twitter and share their experience. But it wasn't an app just because it seemed cool to create an app. It's driven by a core insight about our guests and storytelling. As long as ski resorts have existed, people have skied all day and come down to the bottom of the mountain at the end of the day and told their stories about their adventures on the mountain. And Epic Mix is essentially bringing that storytelling into the 21st century. It also creates an amazing experience for our guests. It also gives us an unbelievable amount of data about our guests tied to a very specific individual. It also enables our guests to market on our behalf. Because believe me, our guests telling what an amazing experience they had at our resorts and sharing their photos is way more powerful than me talking about it. Another reimagine is season passes. It used to be that a season pass was one mountain, locals only, basically, and probably close to $2,000 for a season pass. When we changed that, we put all of our world-class resorts on a season pass, unlimited, unrestricted, and it pays for itself in 5 days. And what we did with that is we changed it from being a product for locals to ski all season and unlocked commitment and loyalty. Commitment meaning you buy the pass before the snow ever starts falling. We lock up a sizable portion of our revenue before our resorts even open up. And loyalty, because you've bought the pass, we know you're coming to our resorts. If you take a second trip, we know you're coming to one of our resorts. And we know that if you have a pass, you're also influencing your friends and family to come to our resorts as well. Because inherently, ski vacations are very social. You want to be with your friends and family. So all of this has resulted in incredible stock performance. We are a publicly traded company. And in the past 5 years, our stock is up 160%, outpacing the S&P 500, outpacing travel and leisure. But I'd say more pride in our company right now and being recognized by Fast Company this year for being one of the top most innovative companies in the world. So what's next? What is the next frontier for us? It's data. And unlocking the power of data to drive our business. And we're on a journey. We're fairly at the beginning of this journey. It's going to take years. We're several years into it and several years to go, with some successes and some painful challenges as well along the way. But first, let's start with why in the world would our company care about data? Because we have a very specific guest. This is not a mass marketing business. We have a very specific guest. They're young, a mean age of 38. They're affluent. Our average household income is close to $300,000, and depending on the resort, even higher than that. They come from specific markets like Chicago, New York, LA, Mexico, Australia, Brazil, and they have a very specific mindset. Our guests are more likely to be motivated by a unique experience than any discounting. They're more likely to get excited about the opportunity to have the exclusive opportunity to take the first chair up and be the first one having the mountain to themselves, doing first tracks down, or doing a behind-the-scenes tour with our ski patrol than any discount that we could offer them on lift tickets or lodging. We know that they're motivated by a high level of guest service, connecting with their family and friends, creating memories, and they're active and they enjoy the outdoors. So, while the purpose of my organization, Marketing at Vail Resorts, is to drive revenue, the vision for how we will do that is to be targeted and personalized. That is the how we will unlock that potential to drive growth. And so we need data. And the good news is we have a ton of data. Because of our vertically integrated business and our investments in technology, we actually have a lot of information about our guests, whether it's through your booking channels for your vacation or your on-mountain experiences or purchases that you've made through our ancillary businesses like retail and lodging. We have a lot of information about our guest. For example, the app that I was talking about earlier, Epic Mix. This is down to an individual level. This is Sarah's Epic Mix account. And you can see the days that Sarah skied, the number of vertical feet that she skied, which resort she went to. We can see her accomplishments, her photos, if she took ski school, what level she was in ski school and her experience in ski school. This is a lot of information at an individual guest level. The exciting thing for me is which of these behaviors of Sarah's are predictive of her likelihood to return or her likelihood to be loyal, and how I can use this personalized information to actually market to Sarah. Sarah's actually sitting right there. I can actually market to Sarah. Now, she works for our company, so it's not going to be effective, but hypothetically, I could market to Sarah by taking aspects of her experience and connecting with her on a personal and emotional level to bring her back into that experience, to get her to book her vacation, to come back to us again next year. So much potential, predictive and personalizing with this data. Also, because of our data capture, we actually know our visitation by market, timing of when they're coming, frequency of when they're coming, and demographic information. That's incredibly powerful, and it's to an individual guest level. And every single guest who comes to our resort is surveyed about their experience to get our all-important Net Promoter Score. We love looking at our Net Promoter Scores by resort, but actually this provides us with so much more information. And when we're asking them about every aspect of their experience before they get on the mountain, when they get on the mountain, ski school, lodging, retail, every single aspect of it, including open-end comments. And incidentally, our partner and vendor who helped us create our dashboard told us they'd never seen so many open-end comments from a business, which is just another indicator of how passionate our guests are, that they take time, good or bad, to tell us how they feel about their experience. But all of this information is actually tied to a specific guest in our database. And so imagine the potential of trying to understand, well, what aspects of their guest experience, good or bad, predict their likelihood to return. their loyalty, their purchase behavior? What specific aspects of their experience? So what are we doing with all this data that we have? We have a ton of data. We're actually bringing it all together, whether it's your days skied, your epic mix activity, your guest satisfaction, your demographic information, your purchase information from every line of business throughout your experience. We're bringing it all together and modeling and trying to figure out, well, what aspects of this data are important? What aspects of this data are actually predictive of purchase, or even just bringing you through the funnel of a new guest to a repeat guest, all the way to loyalty. And we're segmenting our database based on this information. And these segments actually feed everything we do. Again, we are not a mass marketing business. We have to be targeted to the right people with the right message. And so these segments and this data are feeding all of our digital marketing is data-driven by these segments. If we do TV advertising, it's addressable TV into specific households with specific messages tied to the segments in the data. Our CRM, of course, is driven by these segments and this data, and even look-alike modeling off of these segments to find other people that look like them to bring into prospecting to our resorts. Now, we're a publicly traded company, so I can't share with you or publicly disclose all of our different successes or failures, but this is public information, that we've applied this to season passes. Now, keep in mind when you look at this chart, the ski industry has not grown basically in 5 years. And yet, our season passes are up 15%, and all important, the destination season passes, that means people buying our Epic Pass in New York, Chicago, Mexico, Brazil, Australia, is up 24% because of our ability to use this data very specifically on season passes and connect with the right information, targeted and personalized. But we're on a journey. It's actually, I would say, an incredibly exciting journey and incredibly challenging journey. It takes an enormous amount of patience to build the data, figure out what data even matters, and even if you figure that out, how to even use it in a relevant way that impacts the business. It will take us years to figure this out. There's some challenges and some potential. I'm going to share with you some of my painful challenges going through this process. The first is talent. I'd say first is whether to insource it or outsource it. And I started on this journey several years ago at Vail Resorts thinking we would outsource the data analytics. And actually what I realized through that process that we actually needed people in our company who understood our business and were ingrained in our business. And so we changed that then and we insourced. So that in and of itself is a question. The second is, though, once you decide that you're going to build a data analytics team in your company, is finding the talent. I mean, this is a high-demand job, so finding the people to fill the roles. And then I'd say beyond your data and analytics team is the rest of your organization even knowing what to do with it. Because the data and analytics team can certainly uncover some powerful information, but then the rest of your team has to know what it even means or what to even do with it. So first challenge is talent. Second challenge is change management. Transitioning an entire company to be thinking about how important data is, data collection, what we're doing with the data, and then using the data is a challenging exercise to go through. And then related to that is my third one, which is once they all understand how powerful it is and they start to see it, everybody wants it. I mean, everyone in the entire company wants it. And it becomes a leadership exercise in prioritization and focus. I do not let my analytics team provide a service to the company. They are not order takers. They do not respond to requests from every function in the company, and believe me, they get them. And they say no to all of them. They are focused on 2 business priorities and unlocking those two priorities. And then the fourth challenge, I'd say, is, for me personally, the hardest, which is patience. This does not happen overnight. It's complex, it's hard, it's trial and error, 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 error. And you have to be patient and be willing to have the trials and the errors and be patient to build it. Because if you jump 3 steps ahead, it will not work, in my opinion. It's a very methodical, we have a year-by-year methodical roadmap on how we're building this with key leaders in my team involved in it and doing it step by step by step. That is our journey, and it requires patience. But there's so much potential. The potential to use the data to be predictive and really understand what matters and motivate, and predictive all the way through the purchase funnel is incredibly exciting to me. And the second is to be personalized. We do that now, and there's so much more that we can do. I mean, the idea that our experience is already emotion and passion-based, and that we can really connect with you on a personal level and draw you into an experience that's relevant just to you, so much potential. And the experience. So we obviously get a lot of data about our experience, and we can certainly improve our experience based on that. But what if we knew that certain aspects of the experience were actually predictive of your loyalty, that we could actually then go into our resorts and maybe focus in on those experience areas or add experiences that we didn't know mattered? So much potential. So we create an experience of a lifetime. It's based on emotion and passion, but underlying it is also sophistication in data, and there is so much potential. Thank you. Questions?
Kirsten, thank you. I'm a
Thanks.
Boulder resident, multi-year Epic Pass holder for the whole family. 45 days this year. Thank you very much.
Wait, how many? 25?
45.
What, 45?
45 days.
Holy cow.
But here's my question.
Yes.
As a loyal customer, and I love the
should have put up
experience.
your
In fact, the
Epic Mix account.
experience is like nowhere on earth, but that's the old one. I've never answered a single survey you've sent me. Never. I've never answered anything you've sent me. So there must be some degree of self-selection bias going on. There must be a little bit of the information you're getting. And I'm curious, you're sophisticated, as is your team. How do you deal with self-selection and information and where the other data is about the experience?
I mean, I think that that's always going to happen, that there are people who self-select. And honestly, when we launched that Net Promoter Score survey, that was one of the biggest things we were afraid of, was that we would inherently, there would be a bias in the response. We have not seen that to date. And I think there will always be a percentage of people who can't be bothered with the survey. What we found is, you're the anomaly. What we found is that actually the response rate is significantly higher than we thought it would be, and distributed across all of our geographies, pass holders, lift ticket holders. And I think underlying that, and why it's so much more than what we thought, is people want to tell us about their experience. And it's not always good. Sometimes it's bad feedback, it's things that didn't go well. I mean, we always strive for it to be the amazing, awesome feedback. But people want to tell us, and I think that's because it's such an emotional, passionate experience. We do by far, we're never going to get everybody, and we'll talk on the break about you responding to those in the future. I bet I could find you. I'll let the people with the mics decide.
Very terrific presentation. Can you tell us more, to the extent that you're comfortable to disclose that, more information about the segments that you're describing? What is the nature of these segments? You know, how big, and How do you define those segments if you are able to share that?
We would consider that to be proprietary, so I can't disclose that in detail, hence the somewhat vagueness of my slides. I guess the best response that I would have is it's not static. It's constantly changing. We're constantly learning new things and uncovering data that matters, and there's lots of data that doesn't matter. And through the test and learn process, we will constantly refine. We, on season passes, used to have 4 segments. Then we had 11. Then we had 80. That was the jump. And then we realized, oh, wait, 80's wrong. We don't need 80 segments. Some of these actually don't matter. They're not really behaviorally different, and then pulled back. And it is an iterative process. And because I framed it as we're in the journey, we're not through the journey. I don't proclaim for us to be experts in this. We're right in the process of it. We're constantly learning and adapting because of that. But I'm sorry, I can't share the specifics.
I also am an Epic Pass holder, but I do answer the surveys, probably because I only skied 5 days, so I'm at my computer a lot. I'm wondering how...
But it paid for itself in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. Very good.
I met the threshold. I'm wondering if you use data to think about the off-season and about summer and bringing people there and weddings and other ways that you might generate revenue through, all of the months that the resorts are closed, and what the data may tell you, or if that's a totally different segment in itself.
Great question. So, one, our resorts are not closed, so you should come in the summer. We're putting a significant investment into summer, actually, because the infrastructure is already there. The visitation's already there in our towns like Breckenridge and Vail and in Lake Tahoe. So why not create an experience for them up on the mountain? So that is actually a huge focus for us. And we have not started to use the data on summer at all yet. I would say that is definitely on the life cycle curve in its infancy and something to tackle for us in the future. Right now, we're very focused on our core business, which, regardless of how successful summer business and visitation is for us, our core will still always be our winter mountain resorts. And I'm a big advocate, as I mentioned, on prioritization and focus. And I think Allison talked about analysis paralysis and having so much data that you can drown. The way that I keep my team from drowning is they're focused on 2 priorities. So not yet on summer, but soon. Maybe I'll be invited back in a few years and I can give an update on that.
So I don't know about your personal story, but I'm curious about when you came into the organization and whether you initially had an idea of where you wanted to go with this process, and how you kind of inserted it into this already probably successful organization, but how did you bring that innovation?
Yeah, I definitely didn't join Vail Resorts with the idea that we were going to drive the business through data and analytics. I would say it evolved as I joined the organization. I'm a firm believer that our role is to drive revenue. And when we started to see everywhere that we touched the guest on our vertically integrated business and all the different potential to get data down to an individual, not macro data, but individualized data, and how important it was for us to target and personalize, because this is a very niche of a niche business. Then it became sort of clear, and I would say that vision for where we're going with marketing to drive revenue for Vail Resorts evolved. I've been CMO for 5 years, and I'd say it probably evolved within the first 1 to 2 years as I started to see all these pieces coming together and what could potentially be an unlock for us. But I definitely did not join saying, I'm going to go into Vail Resorts and bring data and analytics to them. I actually had no idea that that would even be relevant to a company like ours. And it's been a blast.
This will be the last question.
That was great, and I totally go in the summer. It's wonderful. I'm wondering how you deal with the inventory issue of hotel rooms, mountain capacity. As you continue to grow, kind of, it feels like a struggle would be, is service so important at some point, is there a tipping point?
Yeah, I don't. I have not seen the end of the tunnel on a tipping point right now. I would say that my goal would be that every single one of our guests was on a pass, and the reason for that then is dispersion to different resorts. Right? If you look at sort of the top 5 iconic ski resort destinations, we have 4 of the top 5, and to the extent that you have a pass, then encouraging you to go try Park City in Utah and moving our guests around, which we do see happens when you get onto a pass, that you will go try our other resorts, I think helps. We're also using technology to help people figure out how to navigate around the mountain, for example. So we just put in the technology that you could go in the app and see what the lift line wait times are and actually move around the mountain based on what you see those lift line wait times are, to kind of help, again, move people around. Right now, I don't feel like we're at capacity or maxed out at any of our resorts, and to the extent we continue an aggressive acquisition strategy and moving people onto a pass, I think we'll continue to be able to see people move around. Thanks for your questions and for your enthusiasm. Thank you.